Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Akil. So I have one guest with me. We have some questions to ask him, so let's go to him. Hi.
Hi, my name is Arthur. I'm from Latvia. I moved here just a little over a half a year ago. I did so because I have a girlfriend that lives here, and we've been together for 3 years, and 2 of those years we lived separately. I was in Latvia, and she was here in Hungary.
Okay, that's good. So how you feel living as abroad?
Well, I would say I didn't encounter as many problems just with the fact that I was abroad. However, there were different cultural differences that I did encounter. Definitely some on a more major level, like bureaucracy of Hungary and finding a job here. Some lesser, caring for the pets that I have. And also, I would like to mention that there have been encounters with discrimination and other things since my girlfriend is Asian.
Okay, did you feel any language barrier here in Hungary?
Oh, definitely. I am a person who is very much interested in languages. I've learned many over the course of my life, but Hungarian has proved to be a major hurdle, and very commonly I've encountered most people don't really speak English that often if they are Hungarian. They more speak either German or know a little bit of Ukrainian if they've lived near the border. And with Ukrainian speaking people, I can somewhat communicate as I do know Russian and it's similar. But Hungarian itself, yes, that's still a hurdle I have to overcome.
Okay, as you moved here, did you feel or you find yourself in difficulties about the documents?
For sure. I actually came here without knowing anything. My girlfriend was here to help me, and she pretty much did most of my document like preparation and things. She just asked for me to provide the info. Um, it was quite easy to get through immigration, and I would like to say she was quite mad at me for that, as she said it took her quite a while to do that. But overall, I'd say most bureaucracy that I've had to deal with was actually getting the Thai card. That took quite a while, and technically, I don't even have the physical copy yet, although I have received the number.
Okay, so what's difference you find here in Hungary than your country? Like, what is the most easy thing you find here in Hungary, but you that thing is not easy for in your own
Mm.
country?
I think I would have to say public transport. It's actually one of the answers I most commonly give to everyone, as it is extremely convenient. Um, in the outskirts cities of Latvia, it is quite common that we only have buses, and they come every 15 to 20 minutes. And it seems here that is pretty much unacceptable if you have to wait that long for a transport. Because here in Budapest, you have access to metro, tram, trolleybus, bus, everything is here. And compared to even our capital, the ease of transport and the replacement buses that come whenever there's an issue, it is extremely good, and I would say also extremely affordable.
Okay, nice. Okay, I would like to ask what uh, difficult time you find in your life and why and when.
Hmm. I would say I had quite an issue with job seeking here, as I moved here in March and I was lucky enough to find a job in April, but I tried many different things. I tried to apply to everything and anything. Even tried to apply for just daily jobs that someone needed to help carry boxes. Even then, they wouldn't really accept me. I feel as if it mostly falls into the fact that if you don't speak Hungarian and if you are foreign, they seem uneasy about hiring you. Luckily, I did find a job in Vi, a nice bakery cafe. Um, I love it there for sure. At one point, though, in July, I did decide to quit and seek other opportunities. It was quite a difficult 2 months, to say the least. I ran out of savings. I had to start borrowing money. Our pets had some difficulties, and there were bills piling up, and there was no job to find in sight. I had I was continually applying, even though like when I was working in my previous job in Vi, I was still applying, and after I quit, I was applying even more, and still nothing. So yeah, at around September, beginning of September, I contacted Vi again to ask if I could return. Luckily, they said yes, but yeah, unfortunately, I haven't been able to find anything above the position of dishwasher. So it is slightly unfortunate, as I did have hopes for a capital city to be able to provide me more options, but for now, I am where I am, and I'm hoping for the best.
Okay, then when you feel this difficulty, you didn't think about you should go back to your own country?
It did occur to me, but the reason I moved here was to be with my girlfriend, and that seemed to be the major thing. I didn't really care about the fact that I have finished my university, I have a degree, and I should use it for something. I very much loved studying and finishing my degree, and I would like to go into the field that I did study, but right now I love the fact that I do have a life together with my partner. We have a lovely house. We have our pets that we care for, and it's a lovely, peaceful life. The fact that right now I'm stuck in a sort of position that I've held for quite a long time, it's not that major of an issue.
Okay, thank you for the nice answer. So I have one more question. When you run out of money, as you mentioned, you didn't feel like I should sell out my pets. And if you don't feel that, then why you didn't feel that?
I have encountered a lot of people and stories about people in my country deciding to leave their pets, and I see it as amoral, basically. My cat, for example, I actually took him from Latvia here. He's 9. He's quite an old boy, but I took him here and I've cared for him for many years, and he's basically been a brother to me. When I lived alone, he was there for me. He was my comfort, and he provided me with emotional support. It would be basically me just taking my brother out and being like, go fend for yourself. I need more money for me. I would never do that.
I appreciate you mentioned that you have difficulty with the money. So I also want to ask you, rather than money, you did feel any other difficulty in your life? When and why?
Do you mean in my life in Budapest or in general?
And in general, like,
It's been somewhat smooth sailing. Honestly, money has been the most common issue, as my mom was a single parent and she was working different jobs trying to make ends meet. But all in all, no, I'd say emotionally I've had a very fulfilling life. Looking back, I wouldn't really change much. I've had rougher times in terms of mental struggles as well, but I believe that's something everybody goes through, and it's just, I hope everyone can deal with it, and I was able to. So yeah, I would say all in all, no, money is the only thing that has caused some difficulty.
okay, when you have money, what you would like to change from your life first thing?
You're putting me in a very interesting spot. Very difficult, to be honest. I think caring less about the hours I put into work to basically spend more time with my girlfriend, fulfilling myself, doing activities that I would otherwise not be able to do, perhaps taking courses and learning something new, being able to find new interests. My girlfriend is very much into extreme sports. Well, some I approve of, some I don't, but either way, I would like to try my hand at perhaps diving, learning to properly swim. Um, yeah, definitely just spend time on myself.
Uh-huh. Okay, you find you want to be a like a good swimmer in you want to be in competitions like in national level, or you just want to learn for yourself or something?
I think more of just personal fulfillment. I've never been so competitive. I've been more just do things for fun, to the best of your ability, just to enjoy it. Because a lot of times when I've seen competitiveness, either in sports or in other areas, it causes a lot of strain on other people's mental health. Let's say I had a friend, he was extremely proficient in sports. Volleyball was his favorite, for example. But the way he enjoyed the game was more, yes, I beat the opponent, I'm better. But was that his real enjoyment? I've seen him enjoy other things, and that fulfillment seems more genuine, more personal. And here, I would like to choose something like that, something more genuine, instead of trying to compete and make another person feel bad that they lost.
I'm interested in that. You mentioned before, like if you have money, you will reduce your working hours. I mean to say, if you have enough money to don't work, would you like to don't work, or you still wanna have more money?
Hmm. I think I would be comfortable with just being able to live and not needing to get extra money. I would like to think that if I had even more money, I would just give it away to charity. But again, I'm not in that position, so I'm not exactly able to say. I think when a lot of people get into the position of having so much money that they can't actually spend it, they might start to do things other than just giving it back to the communities. I would be really just perfectly happy not to work, just to do house chores, wait my girlfriend to come back from work, because I think she would definitely still work even though we had money, as you need some kind of daily fulfillment even. I think at some point I would also pick up a job of some kind even if I had money. Because if you're at home the whole time, at some point you're just gonna run out of activities. At some point you're gonna want to do something. And let's say even friendships, other people are working. So you cannot just say, hey, let's go hang out. You're gonna have to kind of wait for that moment. And what will you have in common to talk about with a friend like that? He's saying, oh my God, I worked 12 hours today. And you're like, oh yes, I was just sitting at home looking at the ceiling the whole day. There's no relation to each other. There's no similarities to really talk about there. So I think, yeah, just spend time with my girlfriend, spend time on me.
Okay. Uh, but still, I want to know that why you, if you have money, why you still want to work? I saw some people like they go for the world tour, or they just start traveling. Why you don't want to do that thing? Why you only want to work? Or you?
Perhaps it's my perspective at the moment, but working or having this sort of constant activity daily is just somewhat ingrained in me. Perhaps I would be able to replace it with studying of some kind, perhaps go for a different degree to just, again, get more knowledge and do something. But at the end, what am I doing with it? If I just have knowledge and I'm not doing anything, if I don't have a job, Okay, what do I do with the rest of my life? I don't see a point currently where I would be able to just not do anything. I believe I would just be happy with a balance. That is what I would like to achieve. Having money, yet also working, doing something, and having this relaxation and work balance.
Okay, in general, you want to like having activities in your life.
Yes.
Okay, that's nice. So let's go on about your girlfriend. You mentioned a lot in this interview, so I want to know about her. She is from Hungary or back from your country.
She is actually from the Philippines. She moved here, I believe it was 2018, 2019, to study. And when COVID started, she chose to go for an Erasmus program and did some volunteering service. And she fortunately did it in my city, and that's where we met. Um, yeah, that's about it.
Okay, nice. So what thing you like most on her?
I like the fact that she's really responsible about her life. She's very self-sustainable in a sense. She works, she's managed to study on her own. She's been away from her country for a long time now. And it's quite incredible because a lot of people struggle with that, and it seems to me she's passing with flying colors.
That's cool. Still, she's also working.
Yeah, so she finished her studies. She did go for a master's degree, but chose not to pursue it further. She found a very nice job working at a company, and she's, I would say, been enjoying it, but it's had some difficulties as well. Maybe she will pursue a different career, but we will see about that.
Uh-huh. Okay. So, as every couples have a fight with each other, like you have with her fight, she's not here. Then still, I want to ask like I can ask from her if she is here. So, what cause for that fight? Mention any fight.
Well, she was from the start quite jealous. So anytime I interacted with other friends who were girls, she would get quite jealous of them and suspect me of liking them or interacting with them in a different way than it really was. So one of the things we definitely tried to work on first was communication. To, even if you're offended or angry at some point, okay, take your time, but afterwards let's talk about it to resolve these issues. And now I wouldn't say we've been as jealous about people in our lives. Other than that, we've had some smaller fights. Definitely starting to live together is a major hurdle. Living with someone else, learning how they like to have their house, how they like to have their process, let's say, even in the kitchen. When we started living together first, we were living in Latvia in my apartment, which was quite cramped. It was a two-room apartment, and the second room was basically like a combination of a kitchen and a small office. But the kitchen area was quite narrow, and even things like passing each other while you're both cooking caused minor disagreements that created a fight. But you have to communicate how you want things to be done, or how you can basically just find a middle road. How you can, let's say, okay, I do this and you do that, and we come together at a midpoint. So it's not just one person's way or the other person's way. You both do something so that you have this harmony.
Okay, but I still you didn't mention that what was the cause when you fight last time. Okay, you can say.
Last time? Hmm. I believe it was the fact that I wasn't responding as much. I was, in my perspective, I was quite busy with work and I was quite overwhelmed, but I didn't communicate that. And she took that as me losing interest or just having some kind of already anger towards her, and she shut off. She actually didn't speak to me for a day basically. And well, in a funny way, it got resolved quite easily, as don't know if I should mention this, but when she chose to talk to me, I was high. And I actually forgot how to write at one point, and I had to do a voice message. She found it quite hilarious and then said that we'll speak the next day. We did, and we talked about this, and it seemed quite a stupid reason for the fight, but yes, I didn't communicate my mental well being, and it just caused a big problem.
I'm sorry to say, asking you about your personal life, but I have one more question, like about the money. Have you ever fight with her because of money?
No, not at all. Um, Money wise, she's in a better spot than me. Uh, that has been so ever since we started our relationship. She has never wanted to disclose certain amounts, like let's say if she goes for a trip, which she loves doing, going to different countries to travel. I can't really afford that, and I wouldn't want to ask her to borrow money. But there have been cases now that I were struggling in Budapest that I did ask to borrow money from her, but I take it as my responsibility to also give it back whenever I can. I try to separate my budget from what I actually owe people and to give it back as soon as I can. But no, no fights over money whatsoever.
That's nice. I'm really happy with that. So let's move on another question. Like as you living abroad in Hungary, did you feel any difficulty to find house? Because I know some people they feel like the Hungarian don't give them place because they are foreigners. So did you feel any difficulty like with your girlfriend to find house here?
Definitely. We were actually looking for a apartment for about half a year, I would say. I was in Latvia and we had set a date, March of this year, for me to move. And in the meantime, my girlfriend was visiting different apartments. She visited tons, and I really mean tons, because she was managing her work life and to after work still go to look at an apartment and try to find something. It was quite a bit. We also had quite a lot of difficulty, as it was my intention to bring my cat with me, and we had to find an apartment that allowed pets. And the amount of apartments that forbade pets was incredible. In Latvia, it's very common that if you have pets, you just add a clause to the rent agreement that basically any damages caused will be repaid by the person who rents the apartment. And here there was no mention of this. No one was even willing to consider it. And so the amount of apartments within our budget that allowed pets was majorly decreased. So there was a lot of difficulty. Fortunately, during one of the visits to an apartment, she met the person who was showing her the apartment, and it was a realtor. The person then actually took her number and said that she would personally help out find a decent apartment to live in, to have these things combined: the budget, the pets, everything, the relative location to the center, so it's not too much to commute to work. And so we found the apartment we currently live in. The owner, the landlord, was really great. We still have a great relationship with him. And so it was smooth sailing from there. But getting to that point, very difficult.
Uh, okay, to having apartment is a difficulty as a pets as well.
Yeah.
Like I mean, you have pets with you, so did you also face a difficulty with that? Like people here in Hungary, they don't like to give house to them who have pets.
Yes, we while we were looking, we were trying to message houses that looked very nice, apartments that looked decent enough to at least talk about the possibility of having pets in that house. But unfortunately, they said immediate no. If we tried to ask further, they would just stop talking to us and or just respond with, on the advertisement it says no pets. That's it. And so it was quite difficult. Yes, in our current area, there's a lot of dogs, a lot of pets. So it seems we just found a area that allows them. But I do not understand because, especially in Pest, there were so many places that forbade pets, and even if they allowed them, the apartment was so small that there was no way for a pet to live there.
Yes, but what is the reason why people don't want to give the house to those who have pets?
Perhaps they fear damages or smell that would be caused, or I don't really know. It seems illogical to me.
But as you have to pay for the damages. Yeah, I'm right.
Actually, in our current agreement, we don't have anything related to the damages. We're obviously conveyed that we're happy to pay for if it does occur, but we were not asked to do that at all.
As I know, is by law you have to pay for that. Even it's not mentioned in the agreement. So let's move on. Do you feel any difficulty like about again about the money to having a pets like for their food?
I would say prices are, yeah, actually, one of the first things I noticed, the prices were somewhat similar to Latvia, so it didn't seem that big of an increase or a difference. But we did encounter some things. Let's say, for example, cat food. My cat had started to develop some problems, and so once we contacted the vet, they did recommend a special kind of food, and so that's a bigger increase in price. And then also, I believe it was during May that my girlfriend adopted the dog that we currently have, and so with that came buying toys, buying food, buying a leash, buying clothes, but that is more on her part. I don't really pay for that. That is for her enjoyment only. But all in all, yeah, it definitely takes up a bit of the budget because also you have to buy stuff for the cat litter. So, yeah, it's somewhat pricey, but I would not say that it's too bad. I would say more so the vets, as we needed someone to be able to convey what is happening to the pets to us, and most of them didn't speak English, or even if they did, sometimes they were quite busy or quite pricey, so we had to try and find something that we can still afford, as pets need care quite often, and especially with having a dog and with a young dog, you can encounter many problems, and so you need to visit the vet quite often. The first visit, we paid 40,000 just for the dog. Then, because that involved a full checkup, I believe it was a vaccination shot and a deworming tablet of some kind, and then it was about 35,000 for my cat. So it is quite pricey.
Okay, so how long you have pets and why you think and why you think about I should have pets?
I believe it's just incredibly nice to have this living creature in your household waiting for your turn. it was definitely helpful to me, as when I first got my cat, I was quite young. I got him when he was quite small. Um, but in time, when I was encountering difficult moments in my life, I mentioned mental struggles before, I was living alone, and that was the little creature that always awaited me home, always wanted to be next to me, who helped me. I was at some points even breaking down crying. And that pet immediately crawls up to me, asks for a pet, and I forget all the worries in the world. The same with the dog now. I After this interview, I'll arrive home, and that pet, that little creature, will be waiting at the door, happy to see me. And it takes all the worries, all the tiredness away.
That's cool. I'm very happy to hear that. So you didn't mention how long you have these pets.
So my cat I've had for 9 years, and the dog we adopted this year. So all in all, I'm quite experienced. My girlfriend, even more, as back in the Philippines, her family had 4 or 5 dogs ever since she was little. So she's been around animals her whole life. For me, owning an animal, yes, just the 9 years. But before that, I had encountered family members who had pets, but I didn't know the responsibility that came with that.
Have you ever think about I shouldn't have pets, and why you think?
No, 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 not at all. I would always recommend everyone to have a pet, definitely to go and adopt instead of trying to purchase specific breeds. I believe they're such a great little light in the world that everyone should have in their life as well. And giving that to someone who has been abandoned or just saved from being in the wilderness, I believe that's the best way to go.
Okay, nice. Uh, what should you recommend to me or the public? Like which kind of pets they should have if they want?
Well, most of the time it's typically the divide between being a cat or a dog person. I would recommend going for cats or dogs specifically, as having hamsters or parrots, obviously it's whatever you feel like, but it feels like cats and dogs are more cognitively evolved. They actually treat you like you're there, like you're a part of the family or a part of the pack, so to speak. And they give more responses. You feel their presence way more. So personally, I would say cats. They live their own life, a bit less maintenance, so to speak, because dogs you have to walk in the morning, in the evening, sometimes 3 times a day, you know. With cats, just let them live, clean their box a bit, and they'll crawl up to you. They'll like you either way. Some might not, but you just have to deal with them. They have their own personality, and it's basically just a roommate.
But what about the hair fall?
Well, it depends on the species. Well, not the species, but the breed. For my cat, yes, there's definitely an issue with this, as he's a very long haired cat, and there's constantly issues with fur being on clothes. But you can buy different things in stores, like let's say hair remover that you would typically just use for your coats, just from hair from like outside, or for girls that have longer hair that falls onto the clothes. But you can use the same for cat hair, also with dog hair. Doesn't stick as well to it, but still does the job. So no, I wouldn't say that's an issue. I wouldn't say you should even consider that an issue. But if you are someone who prefers a very clean environment, you should look for a short-haired cat, or even some that are hairless. Those are cool as hell.
Uh-huh. Okay, I trying to ask you what are the disadvantages to having a pets?
Hmm. It's hard to say, but probably with dogs, it's the time that you have to allocate during your day, because this is not optional. This is, you have to. For me, sometimes I have to wake up at 4 when my shift is at 6, just so I can walk the dog before I leave for work. And then when I come back after a long, long shift, I still have to do the same thing again. And you have to try to care for them so they have a fulfilling life as well. Because as an owner, it was your choice to bring them into your household, to care for them, care for their life. So you have a responsibility to actually do that. For dogs, they need to socialize. So you need to bring them to a place where there's dogs. So you have to also pay attention to that. It takes a lot. With cats, the disadvantages, they're more prone to have health problems and health risks. Especially male cats have more problems with urinary tract, and so that can cause quite a bit of issues, as you can just wake up one day like I did, a weekend, and in my city there was no veterinary clinic that worked on weekends. I tried to call around, and the cat is meowing, he's in pain, and I had to rush him to the capital 2 hours away. And yeah, you just sometimes encounter that, but at the end of the day, it's worth it. In any case, just look at those disadvantages and then look at the advantages you gain from that. I don't think anybody's going to consider that as a bad thing.
Is there any weather change impact on that, on the pets? Climate changing?
I would say there are some differences, I guess. For dogs, it's the when the coat changes and everything. At some points, like for winter time, it's, you have to get them clothes if they're a smaller short-haired dog, or get like shoes and then put them on, and it's a whole hassle. We have still yet to encounter that, but I'm guessing we're gonna have quite a bit of troubles with that. For the cats, not so much. They prefer to just sleep in warm places, and so in wintertime, I would like to say just be careful to let your cat outside, as well the cold can affect them, can affect the areas that are not overly covered with hair. And so for my cat, he does like to go outside, but during winter months we do not let him out whatsoever, as he might get an infection, he might do something weird, or get spooked by something and run off. So just look at your pet, be informed about what the vet has told you about them, and be informed about what's happening in your area. Other than that, I don't think weather or other things should impact it that much.
Okay, then what about the summer?
Oh, summer can be even more dangerous, actually, as the heat impacts the animals quite a bit. For the cats, they love having some wind blowing at them. They're not like, yes, in winter they're not cold, but it means in summer they're going to be struggling because the heat is overwhelming, especially here in Budapest. And for the dogs, yeah, we had quite a bit of trouble. Having one ventilator at the house was not enough. We had to buy a second one. We had constant water change in the house so that the pets would have something to drink, and they were drinking a lot. So it was never an option to just fill up the water bowls and leave for the day. Someone had to return home a couple hours later and refill them, because it's not just the pets drinking from it, it's the heat evaporating the water. And pets not having water can be very, very dangerous. So you should definitely, in summers, you have to pay attention to how well your pets are cared for.
Okay, what about this? That was for the cats. What about the dog?
For the
In
dog,
summer.
it's constantly having water with you. We bought a small bowl that we can carry with us whenever we're walking, even on like a half an hour walk. Pretty much midway, your dog is going to want to drink something because they're already thirsty, they're already parched. And also, the concrete can get very, very hot. So you have to very much plan the time that you are walking your dog, as their paws can like actually burn and have very big impact on their health. So it's early mornings, late nights, never midday, because that is way too dangerous.
How do you know that your pet need to drink something or eat something? How do you know about that?
It's not like they can convey that message to you for
I
sure.
Yes.
It's more so you try and offer them. With having a bottle with you and that little bowl, plonk it down on the floor, put some water in there, and offer it to them. They might take it, they might not. The water that you lose is irrelevant. It's more so that you did offer to the pet, and a bit later, try and do it again. Sometimes they might have certain audio cues, like kind of gasping or licking their lips a lot, like as if they're drying out. So just try and pay attention to it, and with time you're just gonna get the feel for it, and you will basically just understand. It's more of a trial and error thing, if anything.
How you feel when you want to travel somewhere? Do you like to have pets with you, or do you feel any difficulty in that time?
Very much so. Recently, me and my girlfriend, we went to Greece. And so it was a lot of preparation for the pets. We would love to travel with them, but going abroad, paying for the pets to go with you is quite a bit. And if you want to enjoy your journey, you then have to plan accordingly. You have to find some place that will allow you to have pets with you. If you want to go to eat, you need to find a place that will allow pets inside. It's a major thing, so we decided to leave the pets here. For both of them, we found a dog sitter that also was a cat sitter at the same time, so we were able to put both pets in the same place. And so we had to obviously pay the person for the days we were abroad, and it came out to quite a bit. And fortunately here there are a lot of dog sitting and cat sitting places that are able to care for your pet, maybe just for a part of the day or for a longer period of time. But obviously that brings in part that you don't expect when you're traveling, is that you have to have a budget for the pets to be taken care of, or you have to have a friend that will come by the house. And with dogs, you need that person to also walk them. It's not just a yes, they are in my place and it's fine. Someone needs to pay attention to them, play with them.
As you mentioned, you give your pets to take care to somebody. Did you pay for that? And you also paid for the food?
So we brought the food from our house, as they recommended that it's better if it's just food that they're used to, and possibly if they have some special diets, it's just better for the pet to have the same food that they usually have. So we brought that ourselves. Other than that, obviously we had to pay for the dog sitter to do the job. Yeah, other than that, I don't believe we had any other things that we did. Oh, we did, however, bring also toys and other things. So, because for pets, if they feel unfamiliar with the place, with the surroundings, they might try to escape and go back home where they feel safe, where they're used to. Especially with cats, they can sometimes, if you bring them to a new place and if you're not there for a certain period of time, they will just run off and they will try to find the house that they were in. With dogs, they're less less confined in that sense. For the dog, it was pretty much 20 minutes in that house, and it didn't matter if we were there or not. As long as there was someone, as long as there were their toys, and if there were the smells from the previous house, the dog was fine.
Uh, what about the public transportation in Hungary? They allow the pets or no?
Yeah, and fortunately, there's no special ticket needed for them as well. Um, all you need to do is to secure your pet, either have them in a bag, or for dogs, you can have them just on a leash with something, basically a muzzle, just to have that safety for other passengers. But it is allowed.
Have you ever face somebody don't allow to having pets in their transportation?
No, not at all. But people have given more kind of weirder faces to people with bigger dogs as opposed to smaller dogs, because I think for a lot of people, small dogs are considered cute. They won't do any damage. But with big dogs, people seem more uneasy, more afraid.
Uh-huh. So uh, overall, don't have like a much difficulties to having pets here rather than accommodation.
Yeah, I would say so. I think if you become a first time pet owner when you're abroad, I think that may come with some difficulties as there are regulations and other things. You have to have a pet passport, you need to have vaccinations if you want to go abroad. I paid, I believe, around 40,000 forints in, yeah, in Latvia before I got to bring my cat here, as he needed all the proper like vaccination shots to be transported here, all the proper documentation. There also needs to be time after that the vaccinations start working, and only then you can travel. It is quite a bit. Also, your pets need to be have a chip in them, and that has to be registered so they can be located. It is quite a bit of work, and as a first time pet owner, I would definitely recommend research. A lot of research.
Okay, I would like to ask you, like, you had any difficulty here in Hungary about your pet's documents?
No, that is not as big of a deal if you have already some things made. For the dog, however, I would say there was a bit of trouble. Um, so we adopted the dog from a not a company but an organization here in Hungary, and the dogs are taken care of by other people as well, and so they needed quite a bit of money up front before even adopting the dog, because the dog needed to have surgery to basically neuter them to so that they are not able to procreate, and so yeah, that was quite a bit of money that we had to spend up front. There was documentation that we had to do, so pretty much you have the dog for a month or so, and then you have to actually make a final decision on whether or not you're fully adopting them, fill out a proper form, submit it. I believe it was around 15 pages of questions that were given to my girlfriend even before getting the dog, asking questions about the house that we're living in to secure everything, to have a house that's basically not easy to escape, as the dogs are from the streets and they're very prone to just different activities than a dog that has been raised in a household from a very young age. So yeah, a lot of foundations, a lot of people, they want to go by regulations and make sure that the person that they're giving that little creature to is secure in that house, because you never know who that person adopting the dog is. There are many people who abuse dogs, so they do background checks, they do a lot of things for that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's cool. Let's move on about the birds. Like, do you think you have to have birds, or anyone like? mm, Are you interested in the birds like parrots or stuff like that?
Not so much. There was a bit of a fascination for me with parrots, as that seemed quite interesting, that something in your house will start just speaking the language that you are speaking, someone who will just repetitively talk. But not so much. A friend of mine did own two little birds, but I did see quite a bit of drawbacks from that, as letting them out of the cage caused quite a bit of cleaning issues, as they did poop quite often and in many places. Also, those same aforementioned birds, they did try and dig through the drywall that he had, basically to the outside. And that seems to me like quite a bit of damages and quite a bit more than I'm ready to deal with. I see the appeal in it, but I don't know. Before I also owned fish, and to me, it seems very similar, but even the fish seem more easy to take care of, and it doesn't cause so much trouble in the long run.
Uh-huh. So in general, you don't recommend to having birds?
Well, it's a difference from person to person. If that's their interest, if that's the animal that they love and cherish, the type of animal, go for it. At least try it out. I I trust that there are some places that would be able to at least provide you with a bird to care for a week or two, and you would at least experience what it's like. But be careful with that for sure, as you know, you have your items in the house, and hey, I mean, if they get damaged, if they get pooped on, that's on you, and it's your responsibility. That bird is still your responsibility. It's not like, hey, you did this, now I'm just gonna let you go in the wilderness. Again, if that's your pet, you take care of it. You take what comes with it.
Okay, so I have one situation for you. Like you are stuck in somewhere, you need really a huge amount of money, but you cannot find for anywhere. So you have to. You can, if you can sell your pets and you can solve that problem. What you choose? You will choose your pets, or you will face that problem without having money.
I would rather be homeless with my pets. I don't think for me it's even a question. It might seem stupid in a sense. My father's generation, for them, it would be, I wouldn't say easier, but it would seem a more logical solution to perhaps get rid of the fact that you have this pet that is still consuming money and you don't have any, or you can get money for that pet. But for me, no. That is a pet. That is not a sellable item. That is not something you get rid of because you don't have money. So no, I would much rather live on the streets and try to find scraps for my pets to eat. At the very least, care for them. I would put them above me in a sense. So, not at all.
So in journal, like do you like to have a business about that, about the pets? Like I saw some people like they start breeding like for the pets, like they gonna sell. Do you think
Mm,
about that?
well, going to the pet business, perhaps. I mean, I'm quite young, so the opportunities are there for me to try and do something like that. But the when you mention the breeding of pets, that is something I'm quite against, as I really don't like the whole hype around breeding certain breeds just because they're valued and they're sought after. I don't support it at all. I believe, yes, if there is this, I believe it should be a natural thing. If you have a dog that's not neutered, and you know, if puppies happen, okay, then it's up to you. If you are not able to care for them, that you are selling them, all right. But breeding for the purposes of a certain breed, I don't support it. I believe it would just go against my morals and my ethics. Yeah, I wouldn't go into that. I would perhaps consider dog sitting or cat sitting. As someone who has experience with pets, I believe would be able to do that. Perhaps something on the side if I'm looking for a job again at some point, to try and advertise, you know, things like that. Yeah, I would not hold it against anyone to try and get into the business, but I don't believe there's an extreme amount of money in that, as people already are spending money on their pet, and to be able to afford extra stuff is quite a bit. So perhaps a different business venture would be the thing for me.
Okay, if you have breed from your dog, would you like to sell them or just to give someone like as a gift or to give some organization?
As in, if let's say my dog had puppies, I would probably try and see if first I can give them to someone as a gift, but even then I would still try and see if they are a person that I can trust with that. Because in that sense, that living being is in my care. Even though perhaps this happened on accident or something, that is now my responsibility. After that, I would try to see if I can sell them. If not, if I'm in the most desperate situation ever, I would try and take them in and raise them. I don't see an option. Unfortunately, yes, I have heard of older techniques as, unfortunately, drowning the newborn animals. But I don't know, I don't see myself ever being able to get to that point of doing that. Perhaps a bit emotionally weak standpoint, but to me that seems actually more strong, that I'm more certain in the values that I have in my life, or in what I believe, and I would not be able to put myself to do that. So I'd rather just take care of those puppies myself instead of giving them to someone who will do them harm.
Okay, that's cool. So in general, you don't want to sell them. You don't want to have money from them.
No, if possible, I would not want money to be involved.
Mm-hmm.
I would just want a caring person to take them in and raise them and have this happiness continue.
But if you have opportunity to have a breed and sell them like in a good money, yeah, or an organization want to buy from you, would you prefer to do that?
Only if I trust the organization. I don't believe... It's a subject that I don't believe my morals would be compromised by money. I firmly believe that I would put my beliefs first and the money after, even if I'm struggling. There have been many cases where I've had to consider selling items that I own just to get some money and get things going, and I've done some of those things, even items I cared for, like a guitar I had for many years. But with a pet, no, that's a living being. Yeah. No, I think life should be valued more than money. As, yeah, in this interview even, it made me realize that I value time with the people dear to me, the pets, everything, way more than the money that I'm currently running after. Once I get to that point where I'm comfortable with my financial situation, for sure, I think that's the goal that I'm aiming for, just a comfortable life soaked in happiness.
Okay, I have very very tough question from you. Your girlfriend or your pets?
So I'm hoping this isn't posted anywhere, but I'm taking my pets. My girlfriend can live on the street. She will support my decision.
Yeah. Totally agree with that. So I'm very happy to have your deep interview. I'm sorry for your personal questions. I'm really sorry for that, and thank you so much for trust on me, and I really appreciate. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a lovely interview.
Thank you. Bye.